It is Wow Wednesday special, where we will be popping in once or twice on a random Wednesday during the month for a special recipe. So if you're ready, let's get to cooking. Welcome back to Cooking with Kayla D. I'm Kayla, and that's my husband Randy. Today we're going to be making penne bolognese. We're going to be making our bolognese sauce from scratch. So let's get to cooking. For your ingredients, you're going to need 1/4 cup of finely chopped onion, 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of pesto or 1 sprig of basil, 1 to 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, 1 pound of fresh tomatoes, salt and pepper to taste. Your optional ingredients is red chili flake for heat, and also parsley and Parmesan that you can put in there as well. Also, you will need 1 pound of your favorite ground meat. We chose to use some Jimmy Dean sausage because that's what we had on hand, and it worked out perfectly. First, you want to get some hot water into a pan and put that on high on your stove. Get your tomatoes and score them in a cross on the bottom, and then put them in the pot. Set a timer for 10 minutes and let it boil and do its thing. By scoring them, it'll be easier for you to peel later once you're going to your peeling process. It's a very simple and easy thing. And while your tomatoes are boiling, you can go ahead and start prepping your ingredients. First, we'll work on our onion. And I don't have like the best cutting skills, and I've tried a chopper, and every time I use the chopper, I cut myself. So for that reason, and I am prone to cutting myself, I actually will just cut the ends off of my onion, and then I use a mandolin, and yes, I'm getting better at using the little safety guard, so that is good. So I will cut and peel my onion and then get my mandolin out and do my slices that way, and then I finish chopping with my knife just because it's easier and you get more of a precise same size cut on your onion. So that's why I do it that way. It's just easier for me, but of course you chop your onions the way that is best for you. And also I want to make a note that if you do it this way, it doesn't cause your eyes to actually cry, which is a good thing. So I cut mine in half, flip it over the top, and then I just cut it like this so that I'm getting like almost the same size all the way around, and it just makes it easier for me. But of course, you do what's comfortable for you. If you use a chopper, use a chopper, but that's how I did it. And I just did it so you could see that. I'm actually going to be blending my onions because my husband does not like chunky tomatoes or onions in anything. And because I wanted this recipe to be fresh, I decided to go ahead and use onion versus onion flake. Generally, I will use onion flake, but because it's bolognese sauce, you want everything to be as fresh as it can be. So I have 1/4 cup set aside, and then also, I took my tomatoes off because the timer went off, and I set 10 minutes. I drained them and put 10 minutes for cooling. And now that they are cool, I'm going to go ahead and peel them. And you want to make sure they're cooled off before you peel them because you don't want to burn yourself. So definitely give them at least 10 minutes, if not longer. So you just go ahead and grab those corners, as you can see like I did. And you're just peeling the skin off, and be very gentle because they will fall apart. If you can find tomatoes where they're all about the same size, that's even better. For me, a couple of mine were smaller, so as I continue on, you'll see that some of them are pretty mushy while I'm holding them. They're not holding their form, which is fine. You just have to be careful that you don't lose your tomato. Another thing is too, I'm putting mine into this large immerser blender cup because I'm going to be blending my tomatoes. You do not have to blend your tomatoes. You can chop them roughly with a knife, or just put them whole into your sauce and mush them around with your spoon, breaking them apart however you want to. If you like chunky tomatoes, you can do it that way. My husband doesn't like it, like I said, so that's why I'm putting it into an immerser cup, and I will be blending mine. You can blend yours as well. So now that I have that, all those tomatoes in there, I'm going to go ahead and add my onion because, as I said, we're going to be blending it. I do have my garlic here, and I'm going to go ahead and crush my fresh garlic and put that in there. Now, if you do not have fresh garlic, you do not have to use fresh garlic. You can use the already crushed garlic you buy in a container. And if you don't have that, you can also use garlic powder. I do not recommend using garlic salt because when you're adding salt later, it might end up being way salty, and then you might not be able to actually consume your bolognese sauce. So it just depends on that, and as well as the type of meat you're using. If it's a sausage, it could be salty as well, and you have to keep in mind all the products that you're putting in your food and the salt level that it might have in it. And that goes for anything that you're making at home for your family or yourself. So now that I have all of my garlic crushed, I'm actually going to go ahead and just add that straight into my little container over here. I use an immerser more than I use anything because it is just the two of us. Of course, you use whatever's comfortable for you and your family. I know a lot of people use a blender, and that is perfectly fine. Now we're going to be adding in our basil or pesto. My store did not have any fresh basil in it, and I refused to use dry for this fresh recipe. So I grabbed my pesto because I did have a jar of pesto on hand, and I just did a lovely juicy tablespoon of pesto, and it is a really good pesto. I got it in Aldi. They have really great prices. If you have an Aldi, I mean, I'd check it out if I were you, and no, I'm not sponsored by them. Also, you'll want to also put a couple tablespoons of a good olive oil, and if you don't have olive oil, avocado is a good substitute. Once you have all of that in there, you're going to then grab your salt and pepper, and you're going to add your salt and pepper to taste. For me, I did a teaspoon of pepper, and I also did 2 teaspoons of salt because I did not have any salty ingredients in there yet. I also did add a whole tablespoon of oregano. I have to put oregano in everything or I go crazy. I do it on my sandwiches. It doesn't even matter. A pizza, I add oregano. I don't know. I just love oregano. So, there goes your salt and pepper. And now the red chili flake for heat. I am choosing to put a little more than I normally do because we do like it spicy. And I'm going to go ahead and just blend everything up together, the salt, everything, because it's just easier to do that for me. Throw it all in there, blend it up, and then pour it into my saucepan. For me, I always start out on a low setting when I'm blending. It just seems to work better, and then as I'm blending, I'll turn it up and turn it up. Once everything's kind of blended, that's when I'll actually increase the speed, because then everything will be chopped more unison. But I like the immerser blender. It's so easy to use. I love that it's wonderful, honestly. Then you don't have such a big mess to clean up with big blenders and stuff. If you have a lot, then of course use your blender, but those big blenders are a lot more harder to clean. They're bulky. This, it's just a lot easier because mine snaps. I just pop the top half off of it, and then I'm just washing that bottom piece and then that cup, and it's so easy to clean. It's just low maintenance, and I'm all about low maintenance. I like easy. So after you're done, like I said, you just snap the top part off, and look at that. That's not much to clean up, you know? And I love that about this one. I like those blender sets. They're just awesome. So now you're going to get a saucepan, and you're going to put it on medium to medium high heat. You're going to pour your bolognese sauce directly onto that. You want to cook this for 10 to 15 minutes. After it comes up to heat though, and it starts to bubble, you'll want to turn it down to medium low. I added a 1/4 cup of water to mine. It was just a little too thick for the amount of time I was going to be cooking it. It would end up making the sauce really intense, and we didn't want that. We want it to be a light, enjoyable sauce. The longer you cook a marinara bolognese sauce, the more intense and robust the flavor gets. So if you want it to be a lighter dish and not such a heavy, rich dish, you definitely want to add some water or broth to it to ease up so it doesn't get so strong, is a better way to put it. So then I have also my pasta pot going with some boiling water, and I threw some salt in there, and I'm going to add our gluten-free penne in there. You can use any pasta you like. This is just the pasta that we had on hand. So I did a half a pound of penne because that is enough for 2 people. I cooked it per the box directions, which I advise you to do. Also, if you grab the handle of your pan and you just slide your pan back and forth like that, not lifting it up, it'll keep the pasta from sticking to the bottom of the pan, and you will not have to touch the pasta. I learned that from Gordon Ramsay. He is an amazing chef. If you've ever seen Master Chef or Kitchen Nightmares, you know who he is. He's got great techniques. While that is cooking per box directions, I am going to opt for the optional parsley and Parmesan cheese. So I have clipped off a few leaves of parsley, and I'm going to just roughly chop those into smaller pieces so I can mix that up. I am using the Italian curly parsley. That is the parsley that I prefer to use. Not such a big fan of flat leaf. To me, I don't know, I just can't taste it. This one's got a more intense taste to it, and I like that fresh herb garden taste you get in the food with it, so that's why I use it, and it does work amazing for chimichurri sauce. Next, I'm gonna get my Parmesan cheese out, and I was so happy Aldi actually had the blocks of it in. They've been out lately, so we have been buying it already grated, and I don't like it like that, so I'm excited. Now I can grate my own Parmesan cheese, and if you've ever dealt with Parmesan cheese before and had that, you know the difference. It is so much better when you freshly grate it. So there's my Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage I added oregano to. I just browned it up and then added it right into my bolognese, and I stirred that up, and it was so good. And I only used a little over half a pound of the sausage. We didn't have any Italian or anything else, so you could use what you want. I mean, I know someone that makes theirs with hot dogs sliced up, and it was actually pretty good. So then you'll want to get a bigger stock pan out, and you'll want to dump your bolognese right into that, which I'm just using the pan I cooked my pasta in. So after you drain your pasta, go ahead and just use that same pot, and you'll put your bolognese in there, and then you'll go ahead and add your pasta directly into it. And this was enough for 2 people to have a pretty healthy plate. Just to give you an idea on what this recipe makes, it is enough for 2. So you mix it up very gently. Using this pasta, it doesn't break apart real easily, so we do like that. And it was cooked al dente. That is how we like it. It's one thing about using a brown rice gluten-free pasta is it will always taste al dente unless you overcook it per box directions. So you don't have to actually take it off early because of the chew. That's what it will do. So I went ahead and added in some of that parsley, majority of it. I only kept a very little bit out because I wanted to mix it through the entire pot. And then I wanted to also then top it off again with just a little bit more for serving. So I got it mixed through, and then I just added the last little third of parsley that was left. And then I went ahead and sprinkled on my Parmesan cheese right onto the top, as you can see. And I just did a little bit because I did use pesto, so it already had some parm in it. So here is our penne bolognese. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I enjoyed making it, we enjoyed eating it, and we love to share recipes with you because we learn from others, and we believe that sharing is caring. Also, a fun fact tip: gluten-free pasta also keeps your stomach from swelling up and inflaming. So if you take your regular pasta, toss it aside, and replace it with the gluten-free, you won't get that bloating after eating your meal. Just taking the gluten out will prevent that from happening. So when you're done having a delicious pasta dish like this, then you will feel like you hadn't even sat down at the table yet. You will feel full, but you will not feel bloated and heavy. If you are not a part of our community, we encourage you to join it. Please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the new episodes as they come out. Please like, share, and comment. We'd love to get to know you here on Cooking with Kayla D. And from here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we're going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you again later. We just wanted to share a few photos of us swimming this week in the pool. My husband Randy, we like our pool time and we rarely share that, so we wanted to say hi, check up, see how y'all are doing, and say we're doing well over here. We hope everyone's staying safe and free from any kind of sickness or plagues. We love you all and we really appreciate your support here on our channel. You are our family and we want to keep growing our family. So please be kind to one another and love each other. And then here we had to just throw this picture in there. We were out the pool and the moon was a half moon. Not quite a crescent, but still pretty close for getting the South Carolina flag image of the palm tree with the moon. We just thought it was really cool and wanted to share it with y'all. Thank you for joining us. God bless.
But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Matthew 5:44.
My disclaimer.